And good morning. Welcome to Sports Talk. Glad to have you with us this morning on a somewhat cloudy Saturday morning. Rain on the way. Another big rainy Sunday coming.
Just like, was it last Sunday?
Last Sunday, yeah. 2 Sundays in a row.
No.
Seems like they're talking about the same amount, too, up to 3 inches in some places of rain coming in the morning. You know, I've noticed, and you've noticed this, too, I'm sure, every time we get the below freezing temperatures. Is that Mike back feeding over there?
Not anymore.
Every time we get the real cold temperatures, like this morning here, it's 29 degrees. We don't get the precipitation at that time. It's got to be a big warm front coming through, so we have no frozen precipitation.
Yesterday was gorgeous.
Yesterday was nice, yeah. Got up to about 60, didn't it? And
it was about 52 in Boone, my grandson's graduation at App.
Outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it got, once it got later in the day, it cooled down.
Yeah, well, Boone usually does in December, right? How many would you say graduated?
Well, it was a December
That's
graduation.
right, yeah, halfway through the.
Yeah. There were 500-600, but
that's still a pretty good number for a December.
Right.
Graduation.
Holmes Arena, of course, the site.
Holmes.
Yep.
That's great. Ernie
Holmes.
Who's some other?
Now, did he beat Ali? I can't remember.
I was gonna hold back on that one.
Well, there's another Holmes that we can't talk about that one.
Yeah. We probably. I doubt he's got. Well, he might have an arena named after him. Who knows? Or a drive-in or two.
Yeah,
maybe
that's where.
I just checking some of this, some of the things out. We got plenty to talk about this morning. It's been a pretty wild week in the sports world, especially in the major sports, where we lost a football coach, we lost a general manager, and we have a $700 million contract signing.
Yeah, for late December, it was pretty active.
Not even back in '63, though, right? Which reminds me of.
Stephen Lowe and Bob Duckworth on Facebook says hello. Good morning.
And you know what? Let's start with it. I bet Bob Duckworth's still a happy man today.
Oh, gotta be. Hickory.
The Hickory Red Tornadoes. We hadn't had a show since
the state finals.
They captured their second state title, and it was. Brett and I watched several games.
Yeah,
and it was by far, I think, the most competitive of the 4 games. And Hickory's last 2 games were one-possession wins.
Yeah.
And that's what usually you have to do to get.
At least one time they did it twice.
Yep, they did. They did back-to-back. But the other games, Brett, weren't they all decided by more than one? I had a running clock.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Weddington's win
on
Saturday over Hoggard had a running clock.
In the 1A, is this true that Tarboro led 3-0 at halftime and lost 21-3. Is that right?
Yes, and Tarboro did not get a first down in the second half.
Wow.
Yep.
The Granite Bears Granite.
Let me tell you something. Okay, think about it this way. Tarboro in the first half played a bend but don't break defense. I would say that Mount Airy outgained Tarboro. Now you tell me if you disagree or agree, Brett. I would say in that first half alone, Mount Airy probably outgained Tarboro 3-1 minimum. Wouldn't you say, Brett?
Yeah, probably so.
But they didn't get in the end zone.
Couldn't get in the end zone.
Tarboro would tighten up when the ball got down inside the 20 and not give up any points. I think did Mount Airy miss a field goal in the first half? Seemed like they missed one in the first half that could have had it even at half. But Tarboro is I'm not knocking the program at all. This is a school that's has the longest streak of playing after Thanksgiving. Do you know what their streak is? You might have heard me say.
I don't know. It's in the teens, I'm sure.
16.
Wow.
16 straight years they have the longest streak of playing football after Thanksgiving in North
pretty
Carolina.
Impressive.
It is. And they're dominating the 1A East. But, this is 2 years in a row now that Mount Airy
has defeated them.
Has taken them down. And you go back another year or two, and you got East Surrey taking them down. But now I'll give them credit. They did beat East Surrey 2 times in 3 meetings while East Surrey was stacked.
So evidently Mount Airy's defense was what it was cracked up to be.
Absolutely.
9 shutouts during the.
I'll ask Brett this: who was a better team on Saturday, Mount Airy or Clinton? And what I'm getting at, could Mount Airy have made a better run at Reidsville if they were in,
Then
Clinton?
No.
Don't get me wrong. I think
think
Clinton
so.
played well enough on defense to win that game. Because if you only allow 28
not bad
to Reidsville, their problem was I expected to see a passing game a little bit effective because it looked like they were averaging 140 yards a game throwing coming into that game, but it was non-existent.
Yeah, couldn't throw it. A lot of pressure on the QB.
Yep. Yep, and good coverage in the secondary as you would expect by Reidsville. They took that part to me. That's what won the game. They took that part away. I don't know what Clinton rushed for, but it wasn't bad. It was probably 250, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it's
Brett?
not bad.
Yeah.
250, and we got all those numbers somewhere, but I'd have to
Well,
dig them
Clinton's
up.
problem was if they got a penalty on offense and set them back, even 5 yards, they couldn't get a first down.
Yep. Kind of like the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah.
Sets them back 5 yards out of their. Go ahead and punt on second down.
Well, we should get used to Reidsville. I'm sure there'll be a factor in the come March and in the
Why wouldn't they
basketball.
be? Why wouldn't they be? Their two best players last year on the state championship team, two of their best three, I'll say, were freshmen.
Yeah.
So, they're going to be in it on the football world as well.
Yep.
For the next couple of years, like it or hate it.
Like it or hate it.
Still got a pretty young team. Although I will say one of the better players to me on that Reidsville squad is that linebacker. Starts with a W.
Yeah,
Waterman. He's good. He's good. He's just all over the place on defense. And I don't know if he's committed anywhere. Did you tell me he had? Seemed like you told me one week or something that he had.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
He is playing in the Shrine Bowl today.
He's playing in the Shrine Bowl. And they'll miss him on defense because he's been a tackling machine for Reidsville for the last few years.
Yeah, and they lose their quarterback too.
Yep.
Al Lee, the all-time passing leader at Reidsville.
What's the? Did you say Ali?
That's Al Lee. If you want to say Ali, okay.
What's up with all these quarterbacks' last names being Lee? Hadn't we had a run of that?
Yeah, like didn't Shelby have one?
They had two.
Two.
Shelby had two.
Two.
I think they were brothers.
You go back a ways, Northern Durham. What? Vad Lee went to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Vad Lee. That's right.
Yeah, that was Hillside.
Durham Hillside.
Durham
Thank
Hillside.
you. Thank you. Durham Hillside. That seems to be a popular name at the quarterback position right now. But, yeah, Reidsville's going to stay in that mix. I mean, they're not going anywhere. And even when we go to the new realignment in 2 seasons from now, those guys will be seniors, so they'll be back for that as well. So, and can have a chance to win a title in a different classification. Even though they'll be playing about the same many teams, the number of in front of the A might be a little different. Might be a 3 or a 4 when we get down to that.
Yeah, but they'll be there.
I can't imagine they won't. And then and one thing about it we've heard is if the classes look similar to what the projections are, they'll be playing in the East most of those years too, or maybe all those years instead of the Western.
Well, that's one thing. You won't have to face them in the West.
Yeah. Yep. And after the last couple of years, nobody really wants to.
Nobody wants to.
And I would say not even Shelby, because the last couple of years they've had the upper hand. But Shelby still holds the all-time series, right, Brett?
Yes, they do.
Like 5-2?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shelby historically until this recent had good success against Region.
One of the few teams.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few teams, especially in recent years. Just checking out some of those headlines we were talking about. Brett, give me a brief explanation. The Lakers lose to the Spurs, ending their how many game losing streak?
18.
And they beat the Lakers? Did it not mean anything to the Lakers anymore since the tournament's over? The IST, is that what it is?
And I got to get Brett's opinion as an NBA guy. What did you think of that in-season tournament?
I think it was good for the fans
Okay.
because I watched the semifinals and the championship, but I don't know if those were just regular season games. If I would have watched,
You would have watched them.
But
Well,
all that-
that was the goal, right, for the NBA, get more eyes on
I
them.
guess I don't really know what.
All they gained though was a check, right? They
I
get
think so,
They get some
yeah.
kind of check, compensation for winning. The runner-up team probably gets about half of that, and so on. But no locked-in playoff spot, no locked-in seed, nothing like that. I think it games
I don't
would have
think
been.
so.
I don't know. I didn't watch enough to know, but was it? Did the teams that you watched play in that tournament
Go all
play a
out.
little harder? Yeah.
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's good for the game then.
Yeah.
That's good for the game if they played a little harder and maybe had a little something.
Now, these games
Bragging rights.
Do these games count in the regular season records?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were playing for that
Yeah,
too.
I know, but what I want to know is how they do the schedule. How do they do the schedule? Because you've already got other teams scheduled for that night, or no?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Either.
I don't know.
That's. I bet that is a complicated thing to do to get it right. So if the Lakers beat who in that championship game?
Indiana.
Indiana, and they play Indiana twice usually during the season, right? Home and away. Will that eliminate one of those?
I would-
See, that's the
I
kind
would
of
guess
thing,
so.
That's the kind of thing I'm wondering. They'll scratch that.
I don't know.
Yep. And I wondered if you had a game scheduled on that night, but you're in this tournament
Yeah.
playing. See, I never did quite dig in to see how that.
Well,
was laid out.
there were no other games the nights of quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. There were no other games in the NBA.
How many days were given off, like between a regular game and a tournament game? Like, or did they even play any regular season?
I don't know any of that.
Okay. Yeah.
There were regular season or regular games played in between.
But they didn't. Did they involve teams that were still in the tournament?
Not once it got to the
Third round or so?
elimination rounds.
Okay.
During pool play, yes, there were games.
Okay.
Regular games in between pool play games.
I do a lot of scheduling and make a lot of schedules. I would not want any part of that.
They do. The Lakers and Pacers do play. Or they're scheduled on here to play twice in March.
Maybe they scratch one of those
So
and they play somebody that they missed.
Right.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
thinking. Know. But then that other team, well, I guess they missed it too. So that might work out. Yeah, that's something weird that I never did really totally.
Another thing the NBA is
understand.
doing now. You're playing a lot of teams back to back. So the Lakers had just played the Spurs at home. I don't remember if it was at home or not. They just played the Spurs on Wednesday. They played them again Friday.
Well, that happens a lot though, don't it? Back to back.
Not a lot. It's happening this year.
Okay.
So last night the Lakers sat a couple starters, and that was part of the reason they lost to San Antonio.
Was one named LeBron?
No, he played. Anthony Davis didn't play. D'Angelo Russell didn't play. LeBron sat out the first one.
Okay. The first game back after the.
The game against the Spurs.
Oh,
no,
okay.
they've played 3 games since that tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They have played 3?
Yes.
Since the tournament?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Lenny sent me a message last night. I want to throw this in there. It was we talk about the big contract signed this week.
$700 million deferred.
Ohtani. And you got to admire a guy that'll let you pay him later.
Yeah.
And with no interest. I wonder if the agent forgot to throw that part in there because he gets paid through what, 42? Is that the number I saw? 2042? Does that sound right?
I don't know.
He gets paid for a long time. And much as I hate to say this, $60 million won't mean as much in 2042 as it does right now. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So he's really going to be, as far as
So he's going to have to find a second job.
he
by
is.
then.
He's probably going to have to play till he's 90. But Lenny sent this to me last night. On this day, which was yesterday, in 1980, Dave Winfield signed a 10-year contract for, anybody want to guess? In 1980. Huge contract in 1980.
$25 million.
You're very close.
I was thinking 30.
23.3.
All right.
$23.3 million. At that time, it was the largest contract ever signed by any sport. My, how things have changed is the way he ends it. My, how things have changed.
You think we'll ever get to $1 billion in the contract?
Sure.
Sure we will.
We're knocking on the door now.
Yeah.
I don't know who it may be. I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime, but I would guess it will be.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Of course, now Ohtani is a generational talent. I don't know.
The one thing about it is, though, if you get to that kind of contract, it'll probably be baseball, won't it?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think so.
It'll probably be baseball.
Yeah.
The longevity, the players can play longer.
Oh, yeah.
It
won't be football. No.
You'd be playing 1 on 11 because that would eat up the salary cap.
Sure would.
Yeah, you talking about some salary cap casualties? That would be one. Can you think, just right off the top of your head, who's the highest paid player right now in the NFL or the NBA? Do you know, Brett? And one I don't even know about. Wonder how hockey contracts compare to the other 3 major sports. They do play more games. they don't play as many as basketball.
Well, is Mahomes the highest played
I don't
player
know.
in the NFL?
I don't know.
Joe Burrow,
Joe Burrow.
$55 million.
Okay.
55
for this year.
For a year. Yeah.
I don't know what the contract is, but he's the highest paid player this year.
So he's making way more than Ohtani this coming year.
Yeah.
What's he getting? What was his number this year? Ohtani's? Do you remember what he's taken to start with? Is it 20?
I don't know. I'm
either.
not sure.
Jason says the I want to say in school every time I read this, but the in-season tournament games were held on Tuesdays, Fridays during pool play. All of the IST games count as regular season games except for the championship game. That game is technically game number 83 for the Lakers and Pacers. The stats from the championship game is not included in the regular season stats, nor does it count in the standings. So now that's a little weird to me. That
You play all those
Yeah,
games.
that's stupid.
That the
The
stats-
whole tournament counts except for that one game.
Because it goes over the 8 now.
Well, not only that, I don't like the fact that the stats aren't being counted. Because
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So, which almost makes it like an well, it is an exhibition game.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's not going to count toward your postseason career
it might
stats.
honestly it
either.
might keep you from being higher up in the all-time scorers list when your career is over, or the all-time rebounders list, or assist list, if they don't count.
I guess that's why they're still playing Indiana twice in March.
Yeah.
Because that game doesn't count for
Okay.
regular season.
Well, you know what? Kudos to the players then for playing hard when you're not going to see those stats go down in the record book. I'm just right off the top of my head, the first thing I'd be interested in is how many points did LeBron score in those games that are not going to go on to his. He's all-time leading scorer now. Did he pass
Yeah.
Kareem?
Well, it's just that one game he said doesn't count.
Okay, just the one.
Anthony
game.
Davis scored the most that night. He had 41.
He could use that.
He had 41 points and 20 rebounds.
He could probably use that towards his all-time stats. Another message rolling in here. This one pertains to the baseball contract that we've been discussing this week. This is what I thought. I guess $20 million, but I had in my head $2 million, and I thought that can't be right. But it is. David Wise says Ohtani only taking $2 million a year for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. That is a guy that wants to win championships.
He just wants to win.
He wants to win championships. Brett's got to love that.
Yeah.
He gets $680 at the end of the 10-year contract, which will allow the Dodgers $68 million a year to pay other players. Now.
Well, they already signed another one.
Which is a pitcher.
Yeah, from Tampa, Tyler Glasnow.
Oh wow.
They traded for him and then signed him to a 5-year deal.
He's one of
right
the top
after.
pitchers in the league, I think. Big, tall,
Yeah,
guy.
that's him. Yeah,
right-hander, I think.
he's just had some injury issues, but
He has pitched well when healthy
yeah,
in the postseason, and that's what you want.
yeah, I like him. I think it's
Yeah.
a good pickup.
Yep.
I've heard a lot of pushback about this deal on talk shows, but it's just like what the Yankees have always done. I mean, the rich get richer in baseball.
Okay, what were the negatives about the deal?
It creates a more uneven playing field, the imbalance.
That's not the Dodgers' fault.
No, it's not. Of course not.
You know, I mean, and
I
that's
think they're talking about the way the setup is.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been for a salary cap in baseball to level the whole playing field like it is in football, but it's not going to happen.
Nope.
It don't look like it's ever going to happen. You know, my man Dan, he said this week, baseball is the one sport where about 10 teams know going into the season they have absolutely no shot. No shot going into the season. And that's bad for the sport, and that's bad for the cities that those teams that have no shot. Guess what? Guess how many fans they're going to average?
I hope one day 29 teams know it, that they have no shot.
Yeah, the Dodgers are now what used to be Steinbrenner's Yankees. Now, spin to create the super teams.
But at least in football,
And you know why it doesn't bother me?
Everybody's even because your team spins.
It's not my money.
No.
That's true.
I wish it was.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not knocking it. I wish the Red Sox would spend more.
Yeah.
They need to get out there and do some spending and catch up with the Yankees.
Well, sometimes
and the
it doesn't
Dodgers.
work.
No,
No,
it don't.
I mean, the Mets have done it
That's
the last few
that's
years,
the classic
and it
example.
hadn't worked
Doesn't
yet.
always work.
That's the classic example of it not working.
Yeah, and it's
the
the
Mets.
old split between player development through the system, farm system versus
And see,
the
I
cash
think
cow.
the Dodgers are great at that too,
Yeah,
the player development.
Yeah.
And I think the Yankees were too in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
They had a lot of
they did.
really good homegrown players to go with those big free agents.
Ned sent me something. I'd heard this on TV the other day, and I don't remember what show I was watching, who was talking about it. But, the taxes on this contract figure in a little bit too. Ned says this allows the older Ohtani to move out of California and their big tax system when the big part of the contract pays off. And that makes sense. I mean, if you're getting what was the you're getting $68 million in that one chunk. Is that what or $680? Well, it had to be $680, didn't it? $680 million in that one chunk at the end of the contract. You don't want state taxes to take half of that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you move to Florida or another state that has no state tax at all. Texas may be one. I can't remember it. There's a few out there that don't have any state taxes, and no, North Carolina is not one of them.
Ooh.
We can vouch for that. Lenny says Ohtani made $5.5 million this year, and will make $2 million for the next 10 years with the $680 waiting on him at the end there. It's being deferred.
But he'll also have other income because he does commercials and
he's not going to be hurting.
no.
No.
He's not going to be hurting for any kind of money, that's for sure. But it reminds me of Brady. I mean, it just reminds me of Tom Brady, who always did that with the Patriots, so that they could bring in more talent, and even more so, it was more important because they had a salary cap.
Yeah.
The Major League Baseball only has that luxury tax. And what's the highest amount we've ever seen paid? Does anybody know the highest amount? I'm sure it's either the Dodgers or the Yankees that have had to pay the luxury tax. And what is, is there a limit on what you can pay luxury tax that keeps you, keeps your salaries down a little bit? Or is it just as much as you want to pay in luxury tax? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe somebody does. And what is that number? I would like to know what the biggest amount has ever been paid in a season of luxury tax, and I'm guessing that goes straight to MLB.
I would think.
Anybody? Don't know quite all the details on that one, but
I don't know exactly how it works, but it says the luxury tax cap for this past year was $233 million.
So that keeps your salaries on your team below a number, and you know, I don't know what percentage luxury tax would be, but you know, what do you think luxury tax percentage would be?
It says
5-10%.
It looks like the Phillies had to pay $78 million last year.
How much?
I don't know. I don't understand
Okay.
this. So I might not even be saying it right. I don't know.
Yeah, we almost need an attorney in here. I don't know either. Before we go to our first time out here, let's just mention this, because I said the big headlines this week were the Ohtani contract and the fact that the formerly San Diego, now Los Angeles Chargers
Fired everybody.
Well, I don't guess they fired everybody, did they? I heard
No.
just two names,
Well,
but
yeah.
the top, everybody at the top, they fired the GM and they fired the coach after that embarrassing performance on Thursday night. Do you put all the blame on the head coach for that embarrassing performance on Thursday night, because they had no Herbert, no Justin Herbert at quarterback? Keenan Allen somehow came down with an injury before game time. Maybe he foresaw what was going to happen
The debacle.
in that game and
Yeah.
didn't want to be a part of it.
There are mitigating circumstances, but it's kind of been trending all season. They've been bad, even
think
with a franchise quarterback.
I agree. I think with only that bad performance, it would have never happened.
No.
But the fact that your record is it 4 and whatever? Is that what
Yeah.
their record is? 4 and
It
8?
hasn't been.
4 and, yeah,
It's
4
been
and 9.
bad lately. And last year wasn't good.
And there's an awful lot of talent, well-paid talent on that team. Who's going to be the next coach of the Chargers?
They're 5-9.
5 and 9.
Well, you should mention that. Listen to ESPN on the way up.
WESPN.
WESPN
Westman.
KRP Cincinnati. Well, the first name, Jim Harbaugh, which you figured.
That's funny, because I heard a name too, and
Wasn't Harbaugh?
his initials were not
No.
JH.
JH.
Want to guess?
Oh, but he didn't come from the college ranks.
How'd you know that?
Just guessed. Ooh.
I'll say it would be
He's
very
somebody who's a current
interesting.
head coach.
It would be very interesting if this did happen. It would be very interesting, and it would be
Tom Brady.
it would be the top story. You're close.
Dion, prime time.
Prime time?
Oh, not from college.
Not from college. Oh.
Mike was the
I
closest
was
so
the
far
closest.
with
So
Tom
must
Brady.
be
That ought to be a really good hint.
Should be evidently an ex-NFL star.
Evidently not. I'm surprised we're not getting some people responding to that, because I thought this was news that everybody had heard by now, that the next coach that's going after the all-time wins record,
Oh, of course, Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, could be your next man.
Well, yeah, might be. Yeah.
He'll have his franchise quarterback,
Sure.
which he hadn't had since Brady left.
Well, he might jump on this.
Yeah. He'll have Los Angeles weather.
Yeah.
He won't have to wear those
Ratty
sleeves cut off hoodies.
Cut off hoodies.
But I mean, that's just
Yeah, that's a name.
that was I heard that one this week on a couple different shows. That
Well, here's the
the
thing, though.
Patriots have already announced he's not coming back
Yeah.
as their head coach. I mean, I don't know if it's been a formal announcement.
Here's one difference.
Rodney got
They
it.
could go ahead
Belichick.
and talk to Harbaugh, because unlike in the NFL where you can't talk to a coach right during the season. Is that right? Allegedly.
Yeah, I think so. And he can even fly in for an interview,
Yeah,
can he not?
absolutely.
I mean, he could go ahead. Yeah, he could talk to him face to face in person and bring him in for an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather have Harbaugh or would you rather have Belichick? I'd take Harbaugh because more years left.
Yeah, he's just
that's-
turned 60. He has a track record of success in the NFL. He took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it would.
Be funny if Belichick took the Chargers job, come in and clean house,
Yeah.
cut all those good players, those big name players, because they've got people that what's Derwin James, one of the best DBs in the league. They got
Oh, yeah.
Joey Bosa. I mean, they've got some big name players on both sides of the ball there.
One
Eckler.
of the best markets in the country. Yeah.
Yeah.
L.A., all that.
But okay, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you a question, and then we're going to take our break. What's the biggest mistake in your mind that the Chargers have ever made?
Among the many?
Yeah. And just see if you think about along the same lines I'm thinking. The biggest mistake that the Chargers ever made was what?
What did they do? One of those draft day trades? Well, no, that was they took Rivers instead of Eli. That wasn't really a mistake.
No, because he had a long career.
I thought I was getting an answer here, but
and they were Eli wasn't going to play for the Chargers anyway.
Ned, you nailed it.
Yeah.
And it may not be the biggest they've ever made, but in my mind, it's the biggest they've ever made. And it happened within the last 5 years.
They can't be moving to L.A.
That's it. They're unknown. Nobody cares. They got no fan base there.
That's
the
true.
stadium fills up with the opponent's fans.
Yeah, that's right.
And nobody knows the Chargers. It's a Rams town because they originated there, and it's always going to be a Rams town.
Always going to be a Rams town.
That's a huge mistake they made moving to L.A. I know you got the big market, but it's not working for you.
No.
It's working for the guys across town.
When you share the same stadium with the more glamorous team and the Rams, right?
The Giants and Jets, it really don't make any difference.
No.
Because you got your half that are because it's been there so long.
Mm-hmm.
By the time
I think L.A. has more Raiders and 49ers fans than Rams or Chargers.
Well, I don't know about.
I don't think it's a
49ers,
Rams
Raiders, yeah.
town.
Well, it is more so though than.
Well, yeah,
Chargers.
more than the Chargers.
yeah.
But I don't think L.A. is. It's nothing like the Dodgers and Lakers.
No.
The Rams are nowhere near that level.
No, they're not. But they should be, as long as they've been around. I mean, they were more dominant back in the '70s than they were any other time. They would get these teams and they would build up and they would peak and they would win a Super Bowl and then back to rock bottom. And they did that twice, once in St. Louis and just a couple years ago
with their
in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But now they're pretty steady. They're pretty solid right now. I think if they hadn't got off to the horrible start, they'd be a playoff team this year. But that's still more Rams town than it is Chargers. The Chargers are just an afterthought. You could probably ask casual fans in the United States where do they play. They're still going to say San Diego.
Yeah.
They don't even know they moved.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And there's a lot of slip-ups with people saying.
But I just didn't see San Diego as a place like Green Bay or Buffalo or Philly. San Diego didn't have that kind of fan support.
No.
Well, it's not
Weather's too good.
I got some stuff rolling in, so it's not the only mistakes that the Chargers have ever made. I can promise you that. Not the only mistake they've ever made by moving. Here's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Ryan Leaf.
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
That one comes from Rodney, and he also comes with another one. They let Drew Brees get away.
Well, there you go. Well, hey,
Add
that to their list of top 5 blunders.
And here's another one too. This one may beat your two, Rodney. Jason says, firing a 14-2 Marty Schottenheimer.
I know, 14-2.
Because the coach didn't get along with him. That coach's grandmother's name might have been Tepper.
Yeah.
Or that GM, not the coach.
Yeah.
That GM's tampering with something good. 49ers did it to Harbaugh a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They're winning. They're going to Super Bowl. They let him go because one guy in that front office didn't like him.
That's right.
I bet it's more than one with Harbaugh.
It may have been.
I don't know if anybody likes him.
Yeah, and that'd be the thing with him going back to the NFL.
Lenny also reiterates that, Ryan Leaf.
What happened? I was thinking with Bobby Ross back in the 90s.
I think he was good. He took him to Super Bowl. But just like,
did they fire him?
Yeah, I think they did.
Because he went to Detroit after.
I think they fired him because there again it did a Rams type thing. They peaked, they went to the Super Bowl, and then
I thought he was a good coach
again. Oh yeah, he's definitely one of the better ones that they've had there. All right, time to take a time out. Here's your first lyrics of the morning,
all right,
Mike and Brett, and all of our listeners.
Hit it.
What kind Now I usually start out pretty easy, and I think I've messed up here.
You're now quoting the lyric.
I think they're
right?
all three.
Okay.
I think they're all three pretty easy. What kind of love have you got? You should be home, but you're not. Back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Century Drug in Boger City is the first pharmacy in the area to offer peace of mind for you, your caregivers, and for your family with a convenient poly pouch, strip pouch system, just like the one you've seen on TV. No more sorting through and keeping up with your multiple bottles of medication. No more filling daily reminder boxes. No more calling in meds and worrying about refills. You'll receive all your medications once a month in a box that dispenses a convenient, easy-to-open strip pouch that is perfectly labeled for breakfast, lunch, bedtime, etc. Century will be the link between you and your doctor to assure you that your medication profile is up to date and refillable. In other words, Century Drug will do all the work. You just take your medications and be healthy and happy. Call or come by for a visit today. 704-735-2551. Century Drug, East Main Street in Lincolnton.
What we have seen and heard, we proclaim to you also, so that you too may have fellowship with us. And indeed, our fellowship is with the Father and with His Son, Jesus Christ. 1 John 1:3. Come join us at Rhine Heights United Methodist Church, located at 520 Madison Street, just up from Betty Ross Park. Sunday school at 10 and worship at 11. Follow us on Facebook. You are invited to worship and fellowship with us at Rhine Heights United Methodist Church.
Western Steer Family Steakhouse in Newton has the best food around. Their buffet is like no other. Fried chicken, meatloaf, baked chicken, beef tips with peppers and onions, pintos and macaroni cheese, green beans, yams, and the best salad bar around. Hours of business Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Western Steer Family Steakhouse, 334 Southwest Boulevard, Newton. Call for takeouts at 704-325-3926. Like them on Facebook.
Full Throttle Power Sports and Law is proud to announce the addition of Brian Lane to their sales staff. And Brian wants to take this time to invite his friends and former customers of Al Lane Motorsports in Lincoln to come see him at Full Throttle Power Sports and Law, featuring brand names like CF Moto, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Polaris, and more. See Brian Lane at Full Throttle Power Sports, 101 Indian Walk of I-85 in Law, online at ncfullthrottle.com.
Lake Electric Company was founded in 1984. They are licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. Safety and quality is first in everything they do. For all your electrical needs, serving Lincoln County, Catawba County, Burke County, Mecklenburg County, and all the surrounding counties. When it has to be done right, call Lake Electric. Let them take care of your family. Lake Electric Company, 4362 Providence Mill Road, Maiden. Call 704-483-4000. Online at lakeelectric.com.
Hey, welcome back. Good morning. Monty Moss Teller. What'd you do, sleep in, Monty? Just send me a good morning at 8:41. What kind of – come on now. Let's see. Just picking, by the way. Got Jason in the house with us now. Rodney Willis. Brett claims to have our lyrics said when we first went to break, he said, I know the group. I got to think of the song. He thinks he's got it now. Rodney Willis has it correct. We'll give it to you one more time here. Did you hear him, Jason?
Yeah, I heard him, but I don't know.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, the way my thinking is, I wouldn't get half of my own right these days. What kind of love have you got? You should be home, but you're not. And I'm gonna give Mike 2 more lines and let him think a minute. A room full of noise and dangerous boys still makes you thirsty and hot. So there you go. Now you still agree with what you got there, Brett? You still think you're?
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I know it.
Okay, and I know for sure that Rodney knows it.
Yeah, I usually
Is it Foreigner?
if I get it, I'll get it
I'm
within the
just
first.
guessing.
10 I don't think Foreigner ever broke up.
Oh.
Now you guys will have to move the microphone back and forth because
we will.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will.
Keep.
I'm stumped. I can't believe I am, but
Homage to Jason here. Broncos in the house.
Oh yeah.
That comes from Rodney Willis. It took me a second because I was thinking Denver. I had to switch gears there. FSU.
FSU.
baby.
The real FSU.
The real FSU. And we're going to get into that a little bit as well because I'm going to tell you why.
FSU that made their playoff.
And I already know I'm going to make one person mad, but I'm going to tell you why they weren't the team that got gypped the most. Because I don't think they got gypped at all.
You're talking about Florida State.
Yeah. If you read the rules and the way the
best
selection
team.
has to be done.
Oh, we haven't been here since the
No, we've not.
announcement.
No, we've not. And I want to talk about that the next day.
Yeah.
But we have not. We've been 13 days, I guess you'd say. On the 14th day, we came back. Ned says, I'll just go ahead and go through this. Ned says it's the Eagles, but I can't remember the song. Brett, tell him. You know the song.
Victim of Love.
Victim of Love. And Brett says that's the song that broke the Eagles up. And
It says Don Felder wanted that song. He wanted to be the
himself?
lead vocalist. And Glenn Fry and Don Henley didn't let him.
Aha.
And that.
And it is a Don Henley, isn't it?
No.
I think it's Glenn Fry.
No, I was thinking.
Or is it? It is Don Henley.
Is it?
I think Glenn Fry wrote it.
Yeah. There's a lot of times I can go take them through my head and I picked the wrong one because they kind of sound alike, Fry and Henley. But
No, I was thinking it was one of the. It's a lyric sound like from a Dirty Mac song of the song "Who's Loving Your Woman While You Out Loving Someone Else." So,
I'm glad you told me who it was.
The Eagles.
I would not have got it. But yeah, that's a good one there. They had they had quite a few songs like that. If my favorite song for lyrics by the Eagles, what do you think it would be?
Take It Easy.
Not really. I mean, it's high up there. But my song, if you just go through and read the whole thing and the story it gives and everything.
It's got to be Hotel California.
Mike's confident though. He's telling me his.
Yeah.
He's telling me his.
Lyrically, that's my favorite.
Yep. Lion Eyes.
That's a good one.
Love
yeah,
the
it does tell a story.
Love the lyrics to Lion Eyes.
Yeah.
I just think that's one of the best. Jason, you said that we were talking a little bit about the Ohtani contract when you came in, and you said that they had to prove that they were going to get the money. And you said I came close in my guess.
Yeah, you came close to your guess. So David Sampson, the former Marlins team president, who's now part of Metal Art Media and Dan Laboratories Group, he talks about this in full detail. He's obviously somebody who's never going back into working in Major League Baseball because he tells so many of the secrets or the stuff that he really doesn't care anymore. But he said for MLB, if you're going to have a deferred contract, teams have to have proof that they had the money before it can be agreed to. Like they have whatever the amount they're deferring. So in Ohtani's case, it's $680 million. But to prove it, MLB brings in an accounting firm, a third-party accounting firm. All the team has to do is the accounting firm take a picture of the team's bank account showing they have $680 million in the bank, and that's proof enough. And Sampson said what some teams would do would go take out a loan for $680 million, whatever the deferred amount is, take the picture showing the money's in the account, and then pay the loan off, and then pay off the loan.
Yeah.
Because Yeah, so it's not that you have to have proof that it's going to be there when the 10 years start. So teams could show, hey, we have it now, and then just walk away. Think about the Bernie Madoff, the whole Bobby Bonilla thing is because of the Mets and the Wilpon family with Bernie Madoff.
Bobby Bonilla's going to slide to the bottom now.
But
when Ohtani collects his,
Bobby Bonilla, I think he has about 6 more years.
Does he?
Or,
still $1 million though, right?
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'd still take $1 million.
And he's getting
every
interest
year,
on his,
especially
8%.
to not be playing.
Yeah, he's getting an 8% interest rate on his money too. Bobby Bonilla. Ohtani waived his. But you know who is the third highest player on the Cincinnati Reds this coming season?
The third highest
player at $3.4 million coming for the season.
Probably the shortstop.
Somebody that hasn't played in the last 15 years.
Oh, somebody hasn't played.
Ken Griffey Jr. He got deferred money coming. He's making.
I was going to, when you said somebody hadn't played, the first one that entered my mind, but this goes too far back, I guess. Sabo.
Yeah.
You may not even remember him.
Yeah, I remember seeing. And then
Chris Sabo.
Bruce Sutter, the former Braves pitcher. He died a few years ago, but before he died, he was getting deferred money. He collected his deferred money basically up to a year before his death.
Now that brings up a very good question. Then, if Ohtani would have, God forbid, something happen and he don't make it to that age, does his family get that money?
So that was brought up, yes. So Sampson brought this up because in the case of Jose Ramirez, the Marlins pitcher that died while playing, so the family would get the money was left on remaining on this contract, and then the team will collect the life insurance, get reimbursed through a life insurance policy.
Wonder how much that policy costs. Life insurance on probably not that much right now, but unless you say I want it for $68 million, and then it might. I'd say the price jumps up quite a bit. But at his age, wow, yeah, that's some big numbers thrown around there by those by the Dodgers and by whoever, all the people involved. It wasn't Milburn Drysdale. It wasn't his bank, was it? That loaned them or did that loan. The bad part about if you're a banker and you loan that money, you're not going to make any interest on loaning it because it's coming right back. Unless you say somehow it's compounded daily,
right.
And you get a few origination fee. Wonder what that would be.
Well, you might get a couple
million.
big billboards or signs up in Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, quid pro quo there.
Bank of Commerce, was that where Milburn?
Commerce
Bank?
Hillbillies. Yeah. But also with guaranteed money, I didn't learn this about NFL contracts. So teams have to have that money. So Joe Burrow just signed a big contract this offseason, and what was his guarantee was like $180, $190 million. So Mike Brown of the Bengals had to put the guarantee money into a separate escrow account to the side up front. Whatever you guarantee these players' money, all that money has to be put into an escrow account to the side up front so that teams can ensure that those players will get their guarantee portion, and just in case the teams run into financial issues or something up front there.
All right, I want to go back just a little bit. Again, congratulations to those teams that won state championships last week. One of our guys in our pick'ems picked a sweep, and it was a sweep. He just had the wrong region of the state. He had the East winning every game, and
wait, he wasn't the only one that picked a sweep.
Brett picked a sweep. Brett got 5 points, and there was only 4 games.
Well, while we're handing out kudos,
so he mopped up.
How about
Mike's going to kudos himself?
How about my kudos? Consistency, longevity.
Toot.
Win the
his own
picks
horn
by
over there.
5 points.
I was going to get to that. Okay. You did win. You won the newspaper bracket by 3 games,
the group pick'ems.
But I won the championship
and the pick'ems. Brett did ace the championships, which is not easy to do.
No.
Just ask 4. He'll tell you it's not easy to do because he went 0-4.
Yeah. I think I went 3-1.
Sorry to pick on you this morning, 4. But I don't know if he went with his head or his heart in wanting to see some. No, I don't think he went with his heart because surely he wanted to see Hickory win. Yep, the local team. And congratulations to those guys. Hickory, Reedsville, help me out here. Weddington, don't matter what class they play in. They just really don't care.
The toughest schedule in the state.
Was it?
Played, I think.
Yeah, probably so.
Games.
Probably so. Yeah, when you're playing the Butlers and
they even
Catholics
beat Dutch Fork. They did.
They beat Dutch Fork, who was a South Carolina champion.
Champion of the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Independence.
So which one? Mount Airy. Mount Airy is the fourth one the one that I did not mention right there.
Does this say anything
back
about
to back for Mount Airy?
Different football styles in East and West? Do you think?
Yeah,
I mean,
100% to me.
Yeah,
Clinton's not going to win a state championship until they learn how to throw. Until they throw the ball.
Right.
Ball's got to be in the air.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, well, and
Hickory won because they could throw the ball.
When you don't throw it, and your opponents don't throw it, and then you get to the championship and see a team that throws it 30 times, it's hard to defend that too.
And there was a lot of receivers by themselves.
Yeah,
in those games, because they hadn't had to do it.
Of course, now you got to give a lot of credit to the big back Isaiah Lackey.
Oh, he was great.
He was great.
Yeah,
Hickory had one of the most balanced teams I've seen.
Balanced.
Just about every game you look at their box score, it's going to be 50% rushing, 50% passing.
Yeah, they were balanced for sure.
From Lenny, Bobby Bonilla earns $1.17 million per year. The Mets were going to earn money off that deferred contract because they had Bernie Madoff invested, but we know what happened there. And you know what? The Mets probably don't mind paying Bonilla like that now, because what's $1 million to a pro sports franchise? You know, I mean, it'd be a little different though when that 68 or 680. I keep saying 68, and that's just a. That's what he's getting for 1 year. Yeah, he wouldn't even miss 68. He wouldn't even miss $68 million after getting that 680 at the end of that contract. I'm going to try to find some high school basketball scores from last night as we go through the scoreboard. For
by the way, how about the bowl season starting today?
Area
right?
teams. Does it actually finally start today? It's been a long 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
To get those,
44 games, right? I think that's
today.
Right.
Not today.
No. Well, Appalachian State today, but that's being threatened by weather, I think, right? To play Miami of Ohio and Orlando in some bowl.
Don't know if you mentioned
rain in there.
East-West game moved to today.
Rain in there.
East-West
game. Yeah, East-West game.
Yeah, which had really moved before that. Moved about 6 months.
6 months. Used to be in the summer.
Yeah, but now they are playing it, and it was supposed to be when was it supposed to be? Tomorrow on Sunday?
Yep.
But it has moved to today because of the weather that's coming in. While we're on the part of the state championships, too, I did have this was brought up to me. Need to recognize Trey Waters, Lincoln High School graduate. Will be spending yesterday was his last day. He's taking another position with a company in Knoxville. So he's going to be moving to Knoxville. 19 years he spent with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. I asked him, we saw him last Saturday, and I talked to him a little bit about many different things, about realignment and stuff like that, stuff he's probably Coach Cloninger initiated the conversation, so I just kind of asked a few questions as well, but I'm sure. I asked him, how many emails do you get in a day that want an answer? And he said, on a single day, probably around 300.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Gosh.
Think about answering. You know, I have trouble answering 4. Mike has trouble answering 1. I can imagine Mike Powell trying to respond to 300 emails in a day.
Obviously, I wouldn't.
Then you
wouldn't be in the position.
You wouldn't have that job long.
Wouldn't have that job long.
Yeah, because everybody, all those schools are, are expecting an answer of some kind. Some might be as easy as yes and no. And they probably are, yes and no. But some of them probably require a little bit of detail.
Or research.
But he has done a tremendous job in his years down there with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. I can tell that he feels it's right and the right time to go, but not necessarily wanting. Didn't you think that, Brett? Not necessarily wanting to do that, wanting to make that move. But we'll see and wish him the best, and definitely have appreciated his him being there and his being the contact guy for a lot of different people, especially the 450 whatever schools in North Carolina. Who all want to ask you a question at noon and would love to know by 12:15.
I'd like to know how the membership has grown since he started, because it's going to be like 440.
Yeah, well, if you go
by
back
the time
19
of the
years,
next realignment.
I'm sure it's grown 100.
Yeah,
at least 100.
because it was always in the 300s
Yeah,
for
it was
a long time.
100. I'd say 100 schools minimum that
Yeah.
it's grown in 19 years. So.
Yeah, at least.
I was going to ask you guys the question as we move forward here, and we're up against a break again already. Everybody pleased with the I'll save these. We'll talk about this in a second, and we'll get into these high school scores when we come back after the break. Were you pleased with the 4 teams selected to be in the college football playoffs? Do you think they got it right?
No. And just I know that the first time I heard about the rule about if there's a major injury or a player or coach or something can have an effect. So going off that, but no, because what you're telling me then, because Jordan Travis was injured, then Jordan Travis should have won the Heisman Trophy because that means he's the most important player in college football. That's the case. That football
he should have at least been invited.
Football is supposed to be the ultimate. Football's supposed to be the ultimate team sport. What's the mantra? Next man up. Florida State went to not to the next man up. They went to the next man up when they had to go to the third string quarterback. And then you're penalizing the defense for the performance that they did in that ACC championship game as if it's all about offense.
Number 3 on the rules of picking a team.
Well, we
number
know
3
unofficially it is about offense.
Number 1 says we're taking the best teams. Number 3 on that list says when you're picking teams, take into account any missing players, especially due to injury.
How about when Ohio State?
So they shouldn't have been picked.
2014, yeah.
2014, because they had a third-string quarterback.
But
right?
how many times had he played?
None.
Hadn't played.
He didn't play until the Big Ten championship game when JT Barrett got hurt in the game.
I would have to go back and see the resumes of the other teams that particular year. Who was? Do you recall who the biggest team was that got left out that day? Georgia, to me, has a bigger argument than Florida State because they were number 1 for like 3 straight years.
How do you drop the 6 all of a sudden?
Yeah.
But what that just tells me, had Georgia won, Florida State was getting in because Georgia lost.
Yeah, because it would
have. Then the whole number and the
made
committee
it easier to knock
and then
out
the committee
Alabama.
couldn't justify putting Alabama in over Texas because Texas has the head-to-head over Alabama. Yeah. And essentially, they should have said, "Hey, it's vibe. We just doing this for vibes. We want the TV ratings because we want this for TV." And it goes to show that no matter what, the SEC people talking about SEC bias, but my biggest complaint would be Michigan. If I'm Florida State, I'm saying, hold on, we got a team that's been accused of cheating, a coach that's missed half the games all year. I have more issues with Michigan getting in. They're saying we're okay to allow the cheater to get in that's undefeated versus a team that's done it, quote unquote, done it the right way.
I've heard this would have been the perfect year to have
Those
12
are some
teams.
good arguments.
Any year would be the perfect year to have 12 teams. Guess who the last guy was that made the deciding vote on not to go to 12 teams?
ACC.
Yeah,
it
was actually Florida State's athletic director.
It could have been.
So
Florida State would have been in this year.
He kicked himself in the butt. But this would have been the perfect year to have 2.
Yeah, but see,
two.
Yeah, because the 12 team would have started this season that we just finished up, but it was the ACC, the alliance. The alliance was formed between the ACC, the Big Ten, and Pac-12, and that never come to fruition. And then also, if you're Boo Corrigan is the director of the CFP committee, Boo Corrigan, the athletic director for NC State. If you're the chairman of this committee, how are you not fighting for your conference to get the most maximum TV dollars? But some could say it's revenge from this past summer that Florida State kept talking to us about how they wanted to leave the ACC. So if you want to leave the ACC, the thought could be a petty move to leave them out.
I think this would be interesting right here, and I'm going to do this, and then we're going to take a break and get into high school. I want to read a couple comments real quick. This goes back to high school. Butch Parker says Pepper Hines, who has been there 23 years, is also leaving the NCHSAA, and it's going to get worse, is what he says. Scott Cloninger, I forgot about this part. Scott said he's the one that gave me the information. We need to mention Trey and recognize him. But the best line he sent me was the last line here that says yes, and Brett will appreciate this too. Thank you, Hubert Davis, for allowing us to sit in your suite last week for the for the North Carolina High School Championship games, and you guys weren't alone. But that's where we sat, isn't it, Brett? That's exactly where we sat.
Not out in the weather, not out on the cold concrete bleachers.
Nope. It said Carolina basketball right there on the door, and that's invited us in.
Quick, Carolina has a new interim chancellor whose name yesterday.
Yeah, the other guy, what was he drinking? Going to Michigan State and that debacle.
It's a whole mess going on with the North Carolina, the UNC system board of governors and all that stuff. But
so he's ready to get out.
The new interim chancellor, he got his undergraduate degree from Duke University.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, y'all finally got an educated man in there. Hey, let me ask you this though: what is didn't Michigan State make some more hires since they've announced that guy? I thought I heard something during the week that made me think this is maybe some coaches. Did they hire some coaches or did I just dream that?
In other sports or football?
Yes, that's all I'm gonna say. Yes, because I'm not 100% sure.
Well, if it was anything other than football, would you have even heard it?
Well, we know it's going to be
you wouldn't have
basketball,
heard it.
right? So probably
So
not.
wouldn't have heard
But maybe
about
it was
Nothing
just
else would have even been relevant.
I mean, this guy went as the chancellor.
Yes.
Maybe it was a new AD. Did they name their new AD yet at Michigan State?
Oh, I don't know.
Or is the other one still there and he don't even know about
Magic
it?
Johnson.
Well, that'd be great. But Magic's got too many other things going on.
Anyway.
He's got too many other things going on, for sure. Right now, you and Jason should be very concerned that he gets the Commanders in order before he does anything else. Is what Magic Johnson. Which other teams has he got a stake in?
Dodgers.
And still the Lakers. I think he still has his minority share in the Lakers also. So yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't you think that? I'm sorry. I was distracted by a text I got. Yeah, he's got Magic has a lot going on. He's making good money because he's eating well. I've noticed him on the commercial that Magic is eating well these days, and instead of shooting basketballs now, he's the refuse from his from what he eats.
He takes a glamorous vacation. You see it on social media every year. Him and his wife, Samuel Jackson, and his wife, and he usually invite one other couple. They're always somewhere over in Europe on a yacht somewhere for about 3 to 4 weeks.
Rough life.
Yeah.
Rough life. Yeah. Somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next set of lyrics, and then we're going to take
our.
Mike, you're 0 for 1 today.
Not good.
This one may get a little easier. It's funny the irony of now giving this, and I'll tell you later. Daylight. All right. I don't know. I don't know if it's real. Back in a moment.
Tim Johnson here from WLON. Folks, if you are looking to buy a new metal building, let me tell you the place to go. Unrivaled Metal Buildings in Lincolnton. With over 20 years' experience, they specialize in metal carports, garages, RV covers, storage sheds, and more. They service over 40 states. They offer bank financing and a credit-free rent-to-own program. All of their units are engineer certified to meet local wind and snow requirements. Commercial sizes are available as well. Address is 2541 East Main Street, Lincoln, or call 844-848-8676. Also, check their website out at unrivalmetalbuildings.com.
This is Creighton Kell with Kell Insurance. We have been helping people for over 25 years with all their Medicare needs. We represent the same national and local companies as the insurance agencies you see on TV. And you know what? We can sit down with you one-on-one and help you find the right plan just for you.
Kell Insurance is located beside the Cultural Center and behind Gillum Realty in downtown Lincoln. 107 North Cedar Street. Call 704-732-4646 and follow them on Facebook. Kell Insurance.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Rhodes and Bill Oil Company in Lincoln has been serving the Piedmont of North and South Carolina since 1919. Sure, they deliver to your home with home heating oils. They'll help keep you warm, but they do a whole lot more. They feature bulk fuel delivery, on-site and commercial fueling, backup generator fueling, and farm and agricultural fueling. For home or business or farms, call on Rhodes and Bill Oil Company in Lincoln, 704-735-2508. Online at rhodesandbill.com, located at 1404 East Main Street in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. The electrical panel is the heart of your home's electrical system. Malfunctions can lead to hazards like fire or power outages, leaving your home at risk or in the dark altogether. Fixing it quickly will help keep you and your family safe. So trust our team of electrical experts at Mr. Sparky to get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Beauchamps, I have a toothache. Where should I go?
Well, Tim, I'd go to John Cloninger Dentistry in Lincolnton. He takes care of all my dental needs. Cleanings and deep cleanings, crowns, bridges, fillings, dentures. He can even help you with your sleep apnea.
And guess what, Bo? He has a partner, Dr. Aaron Hevner.
That's right, Tim. Stop in at Dr. John Cloninger's Dentistry today. Let Dr. Irvin Hevner and John brighten your smile.
John Cloninger Dentistry, 904 Dante Drive, Lincoln. Hours Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or call 704-735-0765.
Century Drug in Boger City is the first pharmacy in the area to offer peace of mind for you, your caregivers, and for your family with a convenient poly pouch, strip pouch system, just like the one you've seen on TV. No more sorting through and keeping up with your multiple bottles of medication. No more filling daily reminder boxes. No more calling in meds and worrying about refills. You'll receive all your medications once a month in a box that dispenses a convenient, easy-to-open strip pouch that is perfectly labeled for breakfast, lunch, bedtime, etc. Century will be the link between you and your doctor to assure you that your medication profile is up to date and refillable. In other words, Century Drug will do all the work. You just take your medications and be healthy and happy. Call or come by for a visit today. 704-735-2551. Century Drug, East Main Street in Lincolnton.
And welcome back. Glad to have everybody with us this morning. Jason in the house with us here on a cool, crisp Saturday morning. Mike, Brett, David, also here in the normal seats after a week off with state championship games going on last week. Went to Chapel Hill and Raleigh to view some of those football games. Saw 3 of the 4. Did not stay for the 4A. I'm glad I didn't because it's a running clock in a state championship game.
That's a downer.
A running clock.
I was going to add we got some good Southern hospitality, and we went to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to get into that on the air, but there is – I'll just say this. There is a major difference in the hospitality at the two places. And, we talked about that a little bit last week while we were at the two places. But
we were very fortunate to have
the
perks that we had.
Oh, yes.
To start with. So.
Yes. Absolutely. And we won't we can't elaborate on that. We got to keep that to ourselves and how we got it and all that kind of stuff. But I did get a message here, and Brett wants me to read the lyrics again because he didn't. Rodney Willis is quick on it this morning. He already got them. Got this second one here for you. Daylight, all right. I don't know if it's real. You want the next line? Does anybody need the next line?
I know it's foreigner, but
yeah, that's what I said was ironic because you guessed foreigner a while ago. Like you'd already been over here reading my notes, and then you just picked the wrong group for the wrong song. I'm just kidding. He did not read my notes, but he does have the group right. This is one of the songs basically that just kick-started probably them as and their career as a big-time band. We'll go back to the college football for just a moment. Richard says something interesting. If you had to bet $1,000 on one of these 3, which one would you bet on? This is before the selection. Which one would you bet on to win the national championship? And that's where he said Alabama, Florida State, or your mom. Which one you going to put $1,000 on? Before the selection, would you have picked to win the national championship? And that obviously would be Alabama, right?
Yes.
At this point, he said. So
unless you thought they weren't getting in.
So he said that kind of answers your question. You know, that kind of answers.
Now, yeah. Well, the way I look at it was, if you're Michigan and you're the one, who would you rather play? Florida State or Alabama?
Did you see the Michigan room?
Yeah.
When they said that Michigan will take on Alabama, and they were all up on their feet and everything, and it's just like you poured molasses on everybody. They just, that was funny to see. I wonder if they've watched that, their reaction to knowing they were playing Alabama.
Like back when you were talking about Georgia having a bigger gripe, I thought Georgia was in my top 4 because I saw them taking the 4 best teams.
Yeah.
But now I don't think they took the 4 best or the 4 most deserving.
Well, was this really
most deserving don't count because that's not in any of the.
No, I know.
You know, and everybody thinks it is because if I'm picking deserving, I'm picking.
And
Florida
I didn't want to
State.
see Florida State in it.
I would have picked them.
I was
for
glad
deserving,
they got left out.
But not for best.
Because I want somebody in there that can beat Michigan, and I don't think Florida State could.
Well, I tell you right now,
this was not a vintage Georgia team, though.
Florida State would get pretty drilled if they had to play one of these right now. I think. I mean, what did they score against Louisville? 16 points.
Well, how about the fact that Alabama needed a miracle play, 4th and 31, to beat a mediocre Auburn team?
Auburn team lost to New Mexico State the week before.
Yeah, well, you could probably. I don't know this for a fact, but you could probably go through everybody's schedule that's in there and say they did this. And that's how they survived.
That's why I said they just went off vibes when they picked this 4 teams. Like, oh man, so because and it's Georgia's fault. Had Georgia won the game, it would have been a perfect 4-team playoff with 4 undefeateds. The Rose Bowl would have had a perfect Pac-10.
You're right.
Pac-12, Big Ten matchup with Michigan and Washington. You would have had everything. It boils down to Georgia.
And I used to hate that it's about what happened most recently, but then I started thinking. Guess what? You might be 16-0 in the NFL, but if you lose in the first round, you're not advancing.
No.
You know, I mean, so it don't really matter how recent that it happens.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you lose in that first round, they're not going to say, "Well, you're still better than them."
But you got to
so
also
going to let you go.
Georgia trying to go for that 3 in a row. Teams in this modern era going for that 3-peat. That third year has been a struggle. I think as a USC fan, going back that 05 season was a struggle for SC. They had to win a miracle at Notre Dame with the Bush push. You know, they had to have Reggie Bush had to win his Heisman because he had to go off against Fresno State that year. And then when they got to the national title game against Texas, you know, Vince Young was a one-man show, but they would make a defense wasn't playing like they normally play. So that trying to win that 3rd championship in a row is a struggle. And Georgia run up against Alabama hasn't done the 3-peat. I think was Nebraska maybe the last 3-peat in the 90s.
Here's all you need to know.
It goes way back, doesn't it?
It goes further than that.
Here's a good point right here from Scott. Do you know what the spread is in the Georgia-Florida State game? 14. That's enough said right there, right?
Yeah, but
they're not one of the best teams if they're a 14-point underdog.
Jason just said that Georgia's having mass.
Yeah, they got
people.
Yeah, which means it would be 28. If they had,
well,
the spread was 14 before all the transfer portal opened.
Okay.
So now, like I said, are these players starters? Whatnot? I don't know, but there's like about 15 Georgia players. I just seen the list that's headed in the portal, but that's all across college football. The portal it's portal season. I think I seen now it's almost 3,000 players in the transfer portal. In the
why can't they wait and open it after the bowl games?
Because you got the recruiting signing day is coming up next week. So
needs to move the recruiting signing day to about April.
Too much stuff in December.
Yeah.
So
all right, here I'm going to do this. I'll even ask Lanny His if he wants in on this in one word, and you can only tell me one word. I don't want to know why. And we'll start with Jason. In one word, you're betting the house. Who's your national champ? One word. Or anybody that gets theirs first. Go ahead and blurt it out. In one word, who's your national champ?
Washington.
I'm going with Washington, too.
Michigan.
I'm on my island. I'm on my Roll Tide Island. RDT, baby. I'm taking them because of coaching
Saban.
experience. And one reason I'm taking them is because of the reaction of the Michigan kids when they found out
you're saying
who they were playing.
Saban was playing head games with.
Oh, you got it right, Mike.
I did.
Who doesn't play head? Who's the best? Who's the best at playing head games in sports? Belichick. I mean, you have to throw him out there. He's just one that comes to mind. And Saban. I mean, they're kind of built in the same mold. At least Saban will speak at his press conferences.
Go ahead. Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's interesting. So we had 2 Michigans, 2 Washingtons, and Alabama. So Texas is going to win it, right? There's your kiss of death.
Yeah.
Texas.
I forgot. This is a revenge game. Washington, Texas versus Steve Sarkisian, former head coach at Washington before he went to USC as a head coach. So he got his.
Washington's been there a few times. I would love to see them win it. I mean, they well deserving, did everything they could do.
Resume and
beat Oregon twice. It says something
Oregon
because
twice.
Oregon was waiting on you that second time. They wanted to play you again so bad.
Well, you talk about the point spread with Georgia and Florida State being 14. You know what the point spread was in that Pac-12 game? Oregon by 9, and Washington won.
Two more questions, and you can give me one-word answers. Who's the best coach in the Final Four?
Oh, Saban. No doubt about that.
The other 2 are stunned over there. Who's the best coach in the Final Four? And you can base it on resume, or you can base it on the upcoming game, whatever you think. But most time, like when you go to the NCAA tournament, you say, "Give me the team that's hot. Give me the one with the best coach. Give me the one with the best guards," something like that.
Well,
Football's a
to
little
me,
different.
in this, I would typically say I want the team with the best quarterback, not the team with the best coach.
Yeah, well, I was going there
That's a
next.
good point.
I was actually going there next.
But I don't even know who has the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Michael Penix.
It's not Alabama's. He's definitely not the best
he's
out of the
not.
4.
No, he's not. But he has announced he's coming back, right? Yeah, I would go with Penix as well.
Michael Penix, yeah.
And I love
I really
the emotion.
I really like
Penix last
Texas
week, 2 weeks ago.
quarterback too.
Yeah,
Quinn
Texas
Ewers.
quarterback's pretty good. He's pretty good. I'll tell you this: it's weird to say this, but the higher scoring the games are, Texas would be the favorite, I think.
And Michigan's quarterback,
They put up a lot of points all
McCarthy
the time.
is good, but he doesn't have to. They don't rely on him as much as Texas and Washington
And
rely
Michigan
on their quarterback.
still has to show me. What is Harbaugh's bowl record? It's terrible. 1-6 or at Michigan, something like that. It's not very good.
But do you not think this is probably his best team?
Yeah,
I
probably.
mean, I would agree. He's
I
struggled
think they're
in
the
big
best
games,
team
but I think
across the board.
I don't know if it's
out of the 4.
I don't know if it is the best, but I think it's his best.
Well, it is his best team when he doesn't have to coach half the games and they can still win.
Including the game against Ohio State.
The next text I get is, "Damn you, Keever. I can't get it out of my head now." And he's got all the lyrics here to head games rolling down through here. Speaking of those head games, some of these coaches like to play them. Definitely like to play them. So did everybody go with Penix as the best quarterback, or did somebody? Brett said
For me, it's
Texas. Yeah, I like Texas too. I like them both. And honestly, if Oregon had won that game, I might have liked Bo Nix as the best quarterback, even in his 12th year in college football or whatever it may be. It seems like I was watching him when I was a kid.
Did you hear the shade Bo Nix's mom threw at Auburn last week during the Heisman ceremonies? She made the comment that Bo finally got to be a regular college student. So had some line about that being at Oregon.
Is there anybody that didn't get invited to the Heisman ceremony that should have? Or did they just have 3?
Just had
4? Tell me.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
he was one of them.
And if I was ever going to give it to a player that wasn't a quarterback, this would have been the time. You know, I mean, he had an awesome year. You see, they're offering him more money than he can make in the NFL to come back.
Well, he probably is the best player out of the 4.
It just almost always goes to a quarterback, and then running back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the running backs would probably be second in line for that award. But tell me the 4 quarterbacks. I just drawn a blank here.
It was
Penix and
Quinn Ewers for Texas,
yeah,
Jalen
Ewers.
Milroe for Alabama, and J.J. McCarthy for Michigan.
Yeah, I would actually rank Alabama's quarterback 4th, probably.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Out of the
but,
4,
but I like him.
But he is, but he can make big plays.
Yeah,
he can make big plays.
But don't forget, guys, last year J.J. McCarthy had 2 pick sixes against TCU.
Yeah. That, and you know what? That's got to come back in your mind too, because TCU was mediocre as far as. I mean, they showed it in the national championship.
In the championship game,
you know
but
I mean?
they dominated their semifinal game to get to the championship.
They
game.
did.
But you got also, if you're
that's your worry about Michigan again, because who did they play outside the conference?
Their non-conference schedule was horrible.
Oh, well, they had a weak schedule.
Yeah, that should worry you again, because maybe Michigan, Ohio State, neither one were worthy.
Ohio State and
we'll
Penn State
out.
were only 2 good teams they played.
But speaking of worry, Alabama at quarterback, if something happens to Milroe, they're going to have to go to their 3rd stringer, because the 2nd stringer just entered the transfer portal to go back to Notre Dame. Tyler Buckner, he came from Notre Dame to Alabama. He's going back to Notre Dame as a lacrosse player now. He hit the transfer portal to go play lacrosse.
Does he get more years because he changed sports?
I think so.
I can't even imagine now trying to keep up.
Oh boy,
with who's where.
Well, if they had to insert Buckner into the game, they wouldn't have a chance. So their 3rd string is probably a better option than
he played
Tyler
in the
Buckner.
game against South Florida when Milroe got benched because they wanted to see Buckner and the other guy. Both of them played, and it was
they were terrible.
Yeah, both were terrible.
Yeah.
I knew that this guy would know this answer. Washington has the best odds. Washington is 7-1 to win the national championship. You can make some money on that bet. Now, I don't know why I just assumed, Coach, that was the best one. Is that the best odds to win it, or is somebody else favored? Hey, you know what? I heard a really good thing. If you want to pick the 4 best teams to go, let Vegas do it, because they know the sport inside out better than anybody else. I mean, they put the lines on these sports. Anybody that puts a line for Iowa at 0 and nails it in a championship game, they had a half a point each half.
Yep.
A half a point. All you had to do is bet under.
What they have 6?
They didn't score.
They didn't score at all.
Didn't score.
Remember? Okay.
Vegas knows.
Yeah,
what was you going to say, Lanny? I
nothing.
saw you
26
thinking.
nothing. That's right.
Vegas sometimes sets odds to make you bet, not really what they think they are.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Luring bets in. But you know, if
well, that's probably what that was. That 0.5 for each half.
Yeah.
They probably got a lot of people to bet over.
I betted 0.5. I thought they would score half a point in each half. But
why wouldn't the old BCS formula work to pick your team?
Well, remember the whole argument was why we have computers pick the teams. The computers don't know, they don't watch. But now, right.
Nobody's ever going to be satisfied. And next year at this time, we'll be arguing number 13. We'll be arguing number 13. Who's the 13th ranked team in the country? Did you guys?
I don't know who in the final.
No.
I didn't see.
Greenberg will be coaching them.
It's somebody that would have no chance.
I think it would have boiled down to LSU. I think essentially the playoffs, just 14 playoff is the SEC Big Ten Challenge. You know, 'cause both things will be all the 4 teams are either SEC or Big Ten.
There's quite a few teams that could have made noise in these playoffs that didn't make it.
13's LSU.
LSU.
Yeah.
Oh, LSU.
With Jaden Daniels.
I would not have want to play them.
Do you think they could win it?
Do I think they could win it?
Yeah.
I don't trust Brian Kelly.
Every game would have to be in the 40s.
No,
or
you
more.
don't think they could win it? I don't think there really be.
I don't think their defense is good enough.
12
to
and
win it.
13.
I don't think their defense is good enough to win it. Who
because I don't think it'll really matter.
Tell me who 12 was, and I'll tell you which one I would take.
With the-
They're pretty even teams. They're pretty even teams in my book. No defense for either one.
We lost 2 games by a total of 5 points. We beat Texas. Yeah, well, you know, being a Sooner fan.
Lost 2 games by a total of 5 points,
That's right.
and they were to
Oklahoma State and Kansas on the road.
That don't hurt you. That don't help your resume any to be Oklahoma State. How many games?
Well, Oklahoma State made it to the Big 12.
Yeah, and they lost to Central Florida by 100.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, It's
now remember in the
probably a
12-team
good
playoff,
idea.
if they would have expanded this year, Liberty would have had to been included in that 12-team playoff as the best group of 5 teams. So someone would have been.
Oh, so that would bump Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ole Miss would be 12.
Sorry,
And
Mike.
I would give.
Man,
You got bumped for Liberty.
bump for
I would give
Liberty.
Ole Miss even less of a shot.
Give me Liberty or give me Oklahoma.
The Liberty. What is their mascot? Liberty.
Flames.
Flames. Yeah, I'm going down in flames.
They're an old flame. Re-sparking. Rekindling. RS Central loses to Hendersonville last night, 85-47. Reidsville over North Forsyth, 88-51. Let's see. It was Highland Tech beating Pinnacle Academy, 67-28. Let's move on down the row here, trying to find some more of our local scores. Alexander Central over South Iredale. These are boys' scores. 66-27. Kings Mountain over Stuart Kramer, 82-45. Did he say something? Oh. South Point loses to Ashbrook. Ashbrook still undefeated on the season, 73-59 last night over South Point. North Gaston falls to Hunter Huss, 55-51. J.M. Robinson, 77. East Rowan, 41. East Lincoln boys, they had gone on a 3-game skid, but they've started to right the ship now. They beat High Brighton last night, 80-37.
Ooh.
I think High Brighton maybe has 1 or 2 wins. North Davidson over West Davidson, 49-35. More Western scores here that I'm looking for. We got to give you this one. Farmville Central, always interested to know what they're doing. 89-37 over Southwest Edgecombe. They are winning. That's what they're doing. Fayetteville 71st, one Friday night after playing in the state championship in football. They play basketball against Southview. They win 48-47 last night. Low-scoring defensive game between those two. Brad, have you found anything or looked at anything that I haven't? Here's a few more from the West. Crest over Forest View, 81-64. Forest View named a new football coach this week. Maybe Coach Cloninger can help me with the name. It slips me. I'll probably look it up on his frequent text.
Did you give West Caldwell yet?
Not yet.
West Caldwell over Newton Conover?
How bad?
67-53.
Okay. Forest Hills always makes a run in the playoffs, 74-69 over Mount Pleasant. Independence over Garinger, 61-22. Weddington over Cox Mills, 68-58. More west. Nothing
There's
on
one.
Avery County and Rosman. Hickory beats Freedom,
Yep.
77-44. Second time this year they beat them. There's my West Caldwell win by 14 over Newton Conover. Burns and McDowell. McDowell was the winner, 49-42 over Burns. Bandies over West Lincoln last night, 78-47, as conference play began last night in the CVAC. Statesville falls to Lake Norman, 97-56.
Lake Norman.
I've
ranked
seen
number 2.
Statesville. This Lake Norman team must be really good to beat Statesville by 40.
No.
That has to be a really good basketball team. Anything else here in the West? Patton over Cabot County, 64-24. Forbush, no score there from the Forbush game. East Henderson over Franklin, 70-48. Mountain Heritage falls to Watauga, 66-52. Dudley over Atkins, 82-52. South Stokes over Allegheny, 80-26. A lot of lopsided scores. It kind of reminds me going back to football when we had so many.
Ironman fell last night.
Regular
to
season.
Piedmont Community Charter, 72-59.
Second loss this week, right? Lincoln defeated Bunker Hill, 77-47. Freshman L.J. Smith, 27 points in that game for Lincoln. Mount Tabor over R.J. Reynolds, 77-42. McMichael falls to Andrews, T.W. Andrews, 52-49 in that particular contest. And I was going to get to this, Lenny. Lenny sends me this. High Brighton girls beat East Lincoln last night, 59-48. And he said, according to Max Preps, that is also according to East Lincoln coach Odie, who sends me the information every single game. on the East Lincoln Lady Mustangs. And, yeah, they got beat last night after having a double-digit lead early in the game. I'm surprised a little bit that they lost, but especially, guys, to have
double-digit at home,
the
right?
double-digit lead on your home court.
Yeah. Surprising.
Mike, to you so far, and Brett's followed some, maybe Jason has too, high school basketball surprises up or down? Anybody up to this point been a surprise to you one way or the other?
Well, of course, Lincoln's undefeated, right?
Yes, 7-0.
And that's one of the best starts I can remember for Lincoln in high school.
You have to go back to 16. They went 10-0.
Yeah,
and they finished the year 25-2.
Well, what about Bandy's?
Bandy's off to a great start.
Yeah, Bandy's.
Have they lost?
8-0.
8-0 for the Bandy's Trojans.
And they got a big win over Patton this week, that was their first loss.
I had a chance to see Lincoln a little bit against Cherryville. This is the best depth I've seen Lincoln have in a while. Of course, I know they're buoyed by the freshman phenom, L.J. Smith, and also the big guy, the transfer from Newton Conover, Lyerly, who's a real force in the middle when he wants to be. So I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
It should be fun. I did not see Maiden score. I know they won.
67-62 over Eastburg.
Okay. I did know they won because our good friend Mike Painter was in here and said they won last night. So 67-62 over East Burke last night.
Well, what about Ashbrook? They were 5-21 last year.
Yeah, that's it.
And are undefeated right now.
Yeah, 7-0.
Portal? I'm just kidding.
Well, it's getting that way.
Yeah, I know. I know it is. It really is. That's a heck of a start.
In basketball, one big-time transfer can change everything.
Or a big-time freshman.
Yeah, or a freshman.
Yeah. I have no idea if Ashbrook added anybody or if they, if it's maybe they were young last year and have just gotten better.
They always have athletes, usually.
I'd like to go back and look and see what players like Sage Surratt did his freshman year in basketball. Was even on varsity? Because I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
was he? What? Because I've not seen a freshman affect a team like I have Smith for Lincoln in quite a while. Because I'll just go ahead and say it. Without him, they are nowhere close to 7-0.
No,
I mean,
well, he's to me, and I knew this going into the season. He's the best player in the conference.
You think so?
Yeah. And
we'll find out.
Doesn't matter how old he is.
We'll find out because there are how many? Let's see, play 13 more conference games to go.
We'll find out
for every single team. And Coach Littlejohn at Lincoln had told me, and we discussed. He said that I'm worried about my kids being ready because you look at Bunker Hill's record and they were 1-5, but every game had been like 2 or 3 points that they lost, and they got their football players late.
Yeah,
who are key players on their basketball team. So the record was deceiving, but kids don't understand that when they look at it. They just see that you're 1-5. And they did struggle in the game for a while before they pulled away in the second half. Because the first update I got wasn't there last night. The first update I got, it was an 8-point game in the third quarter. And I mean midway through the third quarter. And they wound up winning by 30. So
Sage Surratt averaged 18 as a freshman.
18?
Yeah.
And what would you say the Lincoln freshman is averaging right now?
I think he's at 29.
Yeah.
28 or 29.
Yeah.
Of course, what was he in his opener? 40-some?
43.
43 in his first game, yeah. I think his low is 18, and that was at Cherryville.
Yeah.
And I don't think he played as much that game.
Well, he didn't have to really score because they were just dropping it into the paint. They had such a huge size advantage in that game.
To continue, here's some girl scores from more girl scores. McDowell over Burns, 67-19. Drawn over Owen, 72-46. Hunter Huss over North Gaston, 60-10. Let's see. West Caldwell and Newton Conover. First of all, take it into consideration. Newton Conover lost a lot last year at graduation. They beat West Caldwell last night, but just 39-22. So this looks like it's East Burke's conference to lose in the CVAC. They're going to be, all right, Brett. They're going to be the strongest.
Oh yeah,
they should be the strongest team in the CVAC.
What did you say the score was against Maiden?
Hadn't yet.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
don't think I have yet. Yeah, because
I thought that might be their. I think Maiden might be the second best girls team in the
I think
conference.
they're even down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think they're quite as
But yeah,
as
East
strong as
Burke's. Yeah, they're head and shoulders above the rest.
Hickory girls beat Freedom last night, 60-53. East Lincoln, as we told you, lost their first game. They have won 41 straight regular season games.
What? So that broke that.
And you know what's
41.
strange about that? That was in my information the other night, and maybe he foresaw something coming. That I don't know. He said East Burke. This is Butch. East Burke best maiden last night, 60-40. So East Burke clearly got to be the top team, top contender in the CVAC.
I won't be surprised if that's their closest game.
Yeah.
In conference play.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Got the tall girl back.
No, she's gone.
She's
They
gone.
got the two guards.
The guard that started as a freshman.
Yeah.
Who was real good. East Lincoln losing their first in the last 42. Their first in the last 42.
I went back another year, and Chaz averaged 19 as a freshman.
Chaz did.
Yeah, Chaz.
Well,
and we just pulled up Sage because I guess thought
Sage
of him
was,
as more of the scorer.
He
but
was a pure scorer.
Yeah.
That's why I asked about Sage and the fact that he was just a pure scorer. Girls basketball last night. Mike Powell was there. Lumberton fell to Cape Fear, 79-33.
Oh.
Cape Fear won, Mike. I said Lumberton fell
to
Cape.
Fear.
That means they lost.
That's right. Max Cady is happy.
Lincoln Charters girls won over Langtree 78-19. Lake Norman 91, Statesville 16. No score there on Piedmont Charter and Cherryville in the girls. Mike Powell.
Yeah.
East Rutherford over Brevard 68-45 in girls basketball. No score Walkertown and West Stokes. Weddington 55, Cox Mill 50. Does Weddington lose at anything? Keep rolling. Southview, this is Jason's territory here. Southview over 71st, 60-49 in girls basketball. Reidsville's girls a winner, 44-38 over North Forsyth. Rosman over Avery County, 61-51. Brett mentioned this one earlier. I hate to mention this on the air, but I have to. Salisbury over Thomasville, 63-0. You got to feel bad for the Thomasville girls to go out there and not score a single point in the game. West Forsyth over Parkland, 53-49. No score on Madison and Mitchell, two usually pretty good girls teams up in the mountains. Montgomery Central over Anson, 63-46. Bandy's girls over West Lincoln, 68-21. Lake Norman Charter falls to Concord. Concord 62-38. Speaking of Concord, the legendary E.Z. Smith, we saw him down at the state championships last week, sitting behind us up there. Shall I say, talking to folks? One of the best. He could be a great public relations guy for any organization. Let's see, Stuart Kramer over Kings Mountain, 70-30. Crest over Forest View, 63-48. Wilkes Central falls to North Surrey, 68-44. That may do it for Western North Carolina.
Bunker Hill 58, Lincoln 53. Did you give that one?
That was an overtime.
See, I got Shelby and Dorman. I don't know what they're doing playing Dorman, but they played last night. No score was reported. Say Lincoln's girls lost in overtime to Bunker Hill.
58-53.
58-52. We gave you what Butch said. And Butch said Stillwell is back for East Burke. Well, wouldn't this just be her junior year?
Yeah, she's just a junior.
Yeah.
And then their next best player is a sophomore.
Is that right?
Yeah. Or their next leading scorer, I guess, next best player.
Yeah, wow. Pisgah beat Smoky Mountain 73-26. There are a couple more West scores here. Watauga over Mountain Heritage 64-58. I bet that was a good one because Mountain Heritage usually has a really good girls program up there in Spruce Pine. Or what's the name of the town? Where Mitchell?
Burnsville?
Burnsville. That's what I was trying to think of.
Burnsville.
Yeah, above Spruce Pine, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, Stillwell's averaging 22 for East Burke. And then the sophomore.
They are ranked 7th in the state overall.
Yeah. The sophomore is Brinkley. She's averaging 14.
North Wilkes beat East Surrey 41-38. Swain County falls to Hazel 43-29 in that one. And that looks like that rounds up our high school scoreboard, boys and girls basketball. We'll take one more time out. I guess I got another lyric. You guys did get that one, right?
Yeah.
Mike got the head games.
Head games.
Okay, this one would probably favor Mike Powell in the studio more than anybody else to get
it's from
this
the
one.
60s
And
or something.
it would also one Butch Parker. I know he is a fan of this. What is the category we put him in? Classic rock. I know Butch is a fan of this classic rock group. I lost at love before, got mad, and closed the door. Back in a moment.
Yeah.
Stop by Lowe's Home Improvement in Lincolnton for the great deals on items for Provember. Buy a 2-pack of DeWalt 20-volt Max XR battery packs and get your choice of a free matching cordless tool. Or purchase the DeWalt 4-tool 20-volt Max XR combo and get 2 cordless tools. Plus great savings on Cobalt storage systems including shelving and totes. Don't miss Provember and the great savings at Lowe's Home Improvement in Lincolnton. Shop Lowe's in Lincolnton for the things you want to buy today.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Sooner or later, everyone wants to make their home dreams a reality. I'm sure you've seen the television shows and flipped through magazines and you know what you want. Or then again, maybe you're not sure. You know that you want something different and something better. Get started today by contacting the building professionals at Key Builders in Lincoln. Visit the website at keybuildersnc.com and check out their mini floor plans. There's one there for you and your family. Key Builders, locally owned and operated at 1459 North Aspen Street in Lincoln. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Summer fun and summer projects are just around the corner. And whether you're looking to go to the beach, mountains, or working on home projects, or maybe you just need better quality transportation, then ProMotion Motor Company on East Main Street in Lincoln has just what you need. From Jeep Wranglers to pickup trucks to SUVs and economy gas savers. They're all available at ProMotion Motor Company, located at 2527 East Main Street in Lincoln, also at 1016 16th Street Northeast in Hickory. Apply online at ProMotionMotors.com or call 704-735-0303.
Hi folks, this is Will Poteet, President and co-owner of RE/MAX Crossroads. As you know, interest rates are on the rise. However, if you are renting a home, your interest rate is 100%. If you are thinking about buying a home, even if you think you can't afford one, give us a call at 704-736-1717 to speak with one of our expert agents and discuss your options. We would love the opportunity to earn your business.
Darrell Hatchett Family Dentistry is not just a name, it's the way you're treated the minute you walk in. A full-service dental practice with over 20 years experience and lifelong resident of Catawba and Lincoln County. His commitment and caring run deep in the community. Located at the intersection of Highway 150 and Business 16 in Denver, he's convenient to where you are. Open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5, so look no further for your dentist than Darrell Hatchett Family Dentistry. Call 704-489-9919 for your appointment or more information. Darrell Hatchett Family Dentistry.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us. Final segment of the show this morning. Beautiful outside today. Better enjoy it, though. Big rain coming.
Ooh.
A big rain coming. I lost at love before, got mad, and closed the door. Now, Mike says he's got it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give one more line.
Right.
But you said child just wants more. Does that help you any, Brett? I'd say no, probably, on that. Did you have a guess, Brett? If Mike thinks he's got it.
Are they American or British?
American.
Yeah. American.
Okay.
Yes, they are. They are.
No, I don't have a guess.
Who is it, Mike?
Blood, Sweat, and Tears. You made me so very happy.
You got it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I knew Butch. I know that's one of Butch's.
My favorite of them,
groups.
though, is And When I Die.
Oh, yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
one.
Well, that would have been too easy.
Yeah.
So you have to choose some. That's just like the Eagles. If you if you give Take It Easy or some of those.
Sitting on a corner in Winslow, Arizona.
Standing, Mike.
Standing.
You don't have time to sit down.
Yeah. Standing on a corner.
He might have been sitting on a corner in Los Angeles, but not in Winslow, Arizona. You better be standing, right? Better be standing to get that. Let's see. NFL. Thursday night was beautiful, was it not? What a game. What a game on Thursday night. 40 I don't remember last time I saw an NFL game 42-0 at half. Or 42 anything.
What was the halftime score of the Miami-Denver game this season?
I don't know.
Because, that was a 70. Miami scored 70 in that game. But, Brandon Staley, his firing came basically a year too late, because it seemed like he should have got fired after blowing that playoff game last season against Jacksonville. They was up by 21.
Yeah, that's right. It was a delayed fire that should have happened last year.
Belichick going to trade his red for yellow?
I was thinking he may keep his red and go down. I think he's going to keep his red and go down to D.C. For the Commanders.
Well, that's another one that might groom him to be.
Miami's was 35-13 at half. So
35-13.
Yeah, not near as bad as this one.
Yeah. Did you guys watch any?
I caught a small portion in the third quarter. I turned to it late, and I was like, "Oh, what's the score?" And I was saying, "Oh, well, let me stop watching."
It was the most obvious game I've ever watched in NFL in my lifetime. I think that you could tell the team did not want to be out there. They had no desire to be out there on that field, one bit. It was just sad. It was just sad, and the Raiders took full advantage. Full advantage. One of the best stories I heard this week.
It killed my fantasy matchup for the week because I had the Chargers defense because I was thinking, the Raiders only scored 3 points the week before against Minnesota. Chargers defense should be able to do something. And when I saw that score, I was like, "Whoop! I've already lost for the week in fantasy."
No, they didn't score. They lost 3-0. They went from 0 to 63 in 4 days.
That sounded like a trailer being pulled by a mule. I was thinking about the car commercials, 0 to 60, and but this took 4 days, so it's a slow takeoff. But once it gets to top speed, look out. Rodney sends me Raiders for life, the big Raider fan that he is. Okay, I'm going to ask Rodney this: do you want Antonio? What's his first name?
Antonio Pierce.
Antonio, that is his first name. Antonio Pierce. The former New York Giant, Super Bowl winning New York Giant. Do you want him as your head coach, or do you want to look elsewhere? Because I thought Bisaccia. You remember him?
And the Raiders went to Gruden.
No,
not Gruden. They went to Brett and Josh McDaniel.
Yeah. Well, how'd that work out?
I don't think he'll ever get another head coaching job.
He shouldn't. He should.
But Antonio Pierce, Jaden Daniels credited him in his Heisman Trophy because he was on the coaching staff at Arizona State when Daniels started his freshman year there on Herm Edwards' staff, and how he was such a great recruiter and everything from that standpoint.
Rodney says yes. He wants him to be the coach. Now, Rodney, do you think he will be? With the leadership you've got in place, you never know what's going to happen. With the where they at now? Las Vegas Raiders. Had to check my calendar.
Think about the Panthers. They should have kept Steve Wilson. So if you look at
Steve Wilkes, absolutely.
Rodney says, didn't the Raiders' first half score, which was 42 points, set a new record for most points in a first half? Well, I don't know the answer to that. Brett might could find that, or Jason there over here working their thumbs.
Let me ask you this: we talked about Belichick going somewhere and this and that, Harbaugh. Well, where will the Panthers go next, do you think?
I think Tapper is in line to be the head coach.
Yes, that is the record.
I think that it is a record. Jason said it is a record for a first half, or maybe just a half period, but definitely for a first half. Who wants that job, Mike?
I know. I don't know.
It's going to have to be.
It's 3 points shy of the record.
3 points shy.
New England had a 45-0 lead over Tennessee in 2009.
Hadn't been that long ago. Oh wow. Yeah,
It was the most points scored in the first half after being shut out the previous week.
Yeah. Who looks that up? That takes a lot of research. Rodney says, I didn't ask that. And I guess he's talking about what will happen with the Raiders. Who will they bring in? And Mike asked about the Panthers. I don't think a veteran coach would even want to consider that, knowing there's going to be meddling all the time.
Yeah.
But now somebody looking for their first job,
leash.
somebody looking for their first job, a young coordinator on either side. I think it's going to be offensive, but a young coordinator is going to jump on it. You know, I mean,
only way I could see it being a veteran coach if someone. I'm trying to think who was out there that's established of Bill Parcells. Because think about it, even Jerry Jones, as much as he meddled, he didn't meddle when Bill Parcells took over for the Cowboys. Right. Dan Snyder, as much as he's meddled, he didn't meddle when Joe Gibbs came back and coached Washington. So it has to be someone of that elite or that ilk that can basically put an owner in his place and has the clout behind it to do so. But I don't know what veteran coach who will want to come back. Come out of retirement like that.
Ned says go into South Carolina and talk to Tommy Knotts. He'd be the next Jerry Faust. They haven't had one since, right?
No.
To go from high school to the he didn't even go to the pros. He went to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
High school Notre Dame. So I guess we've never had a coach go from high school. Could Tommy Knotts handle it?
No.
It'd be different. I mean, the biggest difference is you wouldn't have the control you have over your players in the NFL as you do. You know, they're 10 years older, basically, on average. You know, they're 10 years older than high school seniors. So you wouldn't have that kind of control. Don't forget, one thing I wanted to mention here.
Here's one thing.
Rodney says he loves Pierce. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he could be. The part that hurts him, though, is that 3-game losing streak. You know, he looked good them first 2 games, but then they lost 3 straight. If he could have just won 1 in the middle there, you know, and I'm not saying he won't get it and he couldn't wind up being he could be good, but most time owners look at the negatives. You know, they don't look at the positive as much as they should.
Another intriguing question: what will the Bears do as far as the draft?
I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a job that you should want, that would be it.
Mm-hmm.
They are loaded with draft picks. They've gotten better as the season goes.
Do you stay with Fields or do you?
I stay with
quarterback?
I stay with him.
If you're bound and determined to get another, I would stay with Fields, and I would trade. I would ask for a king's ransom, trading that first pick.
Yeah, I just my first 2 picks, I'd draft quarterbacks, and then I'd hold all the leverage.
Well, or even before you can get a Herschel Walker type return right now, because knowing they're going to get the Panthers are more like get the number 1 pick. It's going to Chicago. Chicago themselves are going to have a top 5 pick more than likely, so they can. Like what I'm saying,
yeah, they are.
Some team can really, they really want Caleb Williams, or if they want Drake May or Bo Nix, or one of these quarterbacks, they can get a king's ransom for.
You go with the, I can't think of it now. The Nick Dallinger school of fantasy football drafts and take all quarterbacks.
But
that way people's got to trade with you.
But the way it works out with these quarterbacks, they might need to do so. But I know we got to go out there in just a second. But big day in college basketball. Yesterday, they kicked off a big weekend of college basketball. Cause last night was UConn going to Gonzaga and winning 76-63.
They look like the best. They look like the best team right now, don't you? Yeah, it was 2-0.
3 out of the last 4 games UConn has played at Kansas, Madison Square Garden against North Carolina, and then playing at Gonzaga last night. 3 of their last 4 matchups.
Not too shabby, huh?
Carolina plays on Kentucky today at 5:30 in CBS Sports Classic. And get your Peacock subscription out today at 4:30.
Oh, man.
Number 1 Arizona versus number 3 Purdue. It's on Peacock.
I won't see any of it, most likely, because at 1 o'clock, the Vikings are taking on the Bengals. Both teams fighting for their playoff lives.
That's true.
Then you got the Steelers. Those first two teams are 7-6. Then you got the 7-6 Steelers and the 7-6 Colts, both fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah.
And
Loser
then
problem.
the night game, Broncos and Lions. Lions are going to the playoffs, so they're fighting for seeding.
Yeah.
And the Broncos need the win. These are playoff games.
Yeah.
Broncos
These
can
are
win the
playoff
division now
games.
because Kansas City's
they're
lost
falling
back-to-back
apart.
games, and Broncos, I think, are one game behind KC, and they beat KC early in the earlier matchup. So
Did Mahomes go over the edge?
I think his frustration was that he's mad at his receivers. He just couldn't take it out on his receivers, so he was letting the ball over elsewhere. But we talk about salary cap.
Would you have made the call if you were a referee?
Yeah, it was so obvious.
Absolutely.
That was so obvious.
Absolutely.
Now, he should be
and
more
I love
upset.
Mahomes, but there's no denying that call. He's
I
in
mean-
he's in the neutral zone.
He's lined up. Oh, you couldn't even see the ball from that one angle. But
Stay out of
But
it.
the other thing you talk about with Mahomes with the salary and all that stuff, it's had an effect. They can't get the top receivers. They can't pay to keep a Tyreek Hill.
And
They have
Tony
to
has
keep
had a
guys-
history of messing things up.
Yes.
I mean, he's just had a history of messing things
Well-
up. And it's probably not the last mistake that he'll have. It'll cost you. And the flag was thrown 10 seconds before Kelsey threw the lateral. They didn't know he was going to do that, and it'd be one of the prettiest plays in NFL history. Sorry.
Right.
You know, the flag had been thrown well before that. Should that be a pre-snap whistle?
That's a good question.
That's the only question I have about it.
Yeah,
Should it
probably
be?
should be.
Should it be something just like illegal procedure? They stop play. Well, he's in the wrong place. I guess you give him time though, because he can always pull that foot back 6 inches. He's not in the neutral zone, so I guess it can't be.
Well, don't some receivers check with the official? Point to the
And what you'd
official?
have to do is, if that was the case, you'd have to call the penalty every single time you see someone in the neutral zone, even if there was 20 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah, that's true. So
You
it
know?
wouldn't work as a
Or
pre-snap.
you could say when it hits 5, if you're still in it, we blow the whistle. There's ways to fix it. Thanks for Jason coming in today, joining us a little bit. Mike Powell, Brett Keever, I'm David. We'll see you next week. That's right, we'll be here next week on Sports Talk.